Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Morning Garden Show, and Ev, I got a good one for you today. Today, I went back out into the yard after I got home from getting a Subway sub, which they're running specials on those today. Um, when I got the sub, I got back home. I took my other car out today, not the garden mobile, the Morning Garden Show mobile. I took out the one that I always enjoy driving. So what happened was the the whole thing was I got out there and I got to looking at the trees. I brought me out some tree fertilizer and I went ahead and started fertilizing the trees I knew were alive. But when I did a closer look at the trees, I found out I had a lot more dead than I did the original time I went out there and looked around. Trees are dead. Um, and I did the scratch test on them. And when you scratch, you get brown wood underneath. Dead giveaway the tree's dead. Um, they were covered over completely. If some of you remember some of my older videos, uh, it was covered over by vines. Now, I've always known this. If you want to kill something in a garden, whether it be a weed or some grass or a tree, cover the plant from getting the sun and it will die. You don't have to worry about it. It will die. So here's what happened. I went ahead, covered the tree. I mean, excuse me, the vines covered the tree. And when the vines covered the tree died. I was in the hospital for 8.5, 9 months. That car accident. When I got out, everything was covered with vines. I'm lucky to be alive. That's the bottom line. But I lost a lot when all this happened. Um, However, I'm still here, so I'm still a winner. So what happened was when that took place, I simply got back on the horse and say, no, this is not going to defeat me. Um, it took me years to grow those trees, um, and I made a lot of mistakes in growing those trees. Some of them were not mated up properly, which means that they didn't have a partner to cross with, and they grew beautiful trees, but never had a partner to cross with. So that being said, um, uh, Summerstone Nursery sold me a lot of my trees. Really screwed up deal. I just lost the last one from them, which is the cherry tree and also the pear tree. Which the pear tree, I never knew what it was because it never crossed with my delicious tree, which tells me that maybe it wasn't a Bartlett. It never produced. No, excuse me. It produced pears sometime, and then it just stopped. And that could have been due to, that could have been due to fertilization, proper location, sunlight, whatever. But it grew a big, beautiful tree, 23, 24 feet tall. It was a dwarf, and it was healthy and pretty. And however, it did not do well when the vines got a hold of it. The vines killed it. Now, the only thing I could have did to save that tree, um, which was if I wasn't in the hospital, I could have removed the vines before they got all entangled all over the trees. And that's what they did. If you look at the trees in some of my older videos, you can't tell what kind of tree you're looking at because they're completely covered with vines. But however, I am back, and I got out there. I fertilized the trees that were alive because I see the buds swelling on them. So I said, go ahead and do your spring fertilization to these trees, so they will have the energy they need to produce. Now that being said, I got I counted one, two, three, four, five, six more trees to take out because they all dead due to um, the vines. And so they will be replaced. But you know trees are expensive today. And I am not going to run out there and give somebody $50 and $60 per tree. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So I'm going to come up with a better way to do it. Now, if I got standard trees, they're still expensive. Standard tree is a tree that's not a dwarf. It's just going to grow its normal. If the tree says 25 feet tall and 25 feet across, then that's what a standard tree does. I'm not doing that. I know that you can cut and trim and keep a tree small. You can do that. However, production of fruit, how long does it take for a standard to produce fruit versus a dwarf to produce fruit? I'm going to look into that a little closer, find out where I'm at. Um, but they sometimes have sales on trees, but now that the spring's coming in, you are hardly going to be able to find any sales on trees. You got the economy screwing itself to the wall due to one politician, and the you got the trees up in cost because everybody's buying whatever they can to buy food, and that's what they're doing. So I understand that, and what I'm doing now is getting myself ready and prepped up so I can grow just the fruits I need, just the fruits I want. It don't take a long time to produce fruit. Um, and that's what I'm looking at. Now, I have some trees later this week I'm going to remove. And I just want to tell you right now, I found a fun toy, two actually. One is a chipper, beautiful electric chipper. Bought it. It's got a bagger in the bottom. It's got wheels on it. You roll it around and set it up, and you plug it in, and it cuts whatever you need cut. But this here gets rid of the trees from the soil. This is a beautiful tool. Yep, beautiful. And it cuts down trees. The tree could be 4 to 5 inches across the trunk of the tree, and it'll still cut it down. It'll do it very fast. Put a little oil up here on the blade before you start, and go ahead and hold it in. It cuts right through it. Oh, I see some numbers here I didn't see before. But this right here, and I use this battery. One battery. It comes with 2 batteries. I use one battery to go through a whole bunch of trees the first time I went out there. And it didn't wear it down to where it wouldn't do what it needed to do. And it's got a button here to check the charge on it. I guess you might be able to see it. It's a green light that comes on. I didn't know about that. So you can actually check the battery while you're out there cutting and look at it and see, hey, why won't this thing work? And you could actually push and get a battery reading. It's got a simple tool here built in that you can take out. You take it out if you want to, and does a great job. But I like this little thing here. And it's a little heavy at first, getting used to it with the hand. If you don't have a strong wrist, you'll feel that later on. It's got a safety switch here that pushes on both sides, in or out, in or out. And it won't cut on until you push that in. And it's called a hide job. And I love it. You have to wear ear protection when you're using it. It's not a bad idea to put a mask on. So when you're cutting into those trees with all those blossoms on it and all that pollen, you can kind of protect yourself. So this is my new toy. And I got to tell you something right now. It's not a joke. It works incredibly well. It gets the job done. It just works really well. I mean, it cuts down trees quick. Branches, vines, little saplings that are growing up all over the place. Those are what I call junk trees that don't produce any fruit. They just produce garbage, and they smell funny when you cut them. So that being said, this is the Morning Gardening Show. I am back on the horse. I'm still shopping around right now looking for trees that are competitively priced. I found Wilson, and Wilson is a good company I dealt with. I bought a pomegranate from them. And what I'm going to do with the pomegranate is I'm going to get multiple trees out of the pomegranate. I might get about 2 or 3 trees out of it and might plant 2 more pomegranate trees because I want pomegranates. I like them. And also I got to get a Bartlett pear, and that's it. That will be the end of my shopping spree. Um, I had close to 20 trees, folks. I had 20 trees out there growing, and now I am down to a very few. I didn't count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 trees left, and I'm going to. But all of my trees are mostly apples, so that's a good thing. This is the Morning Garden Show. Thank you very much for tuning in.